I'm the daughter. I'm number 7. And, um, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't know I was going to have a stage. But in the spirit of my dad, who did tons of speeches, I'm going to work it. Okay? So, um, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for putting this program on because um, the Boggs children are just excited. We are also very honored and we're humbled by this, that you want to continue to share the life and celebration of our dad, James Boggs. And I think everybody, as it was said earlier, I think Steve mentioned it, that Dad would have been 100 years old this past May. He died at 74, and Grace died at 100. And then just recently in May, or March 15th of this year, we lost our beloved mother, Annie Boggs. She was 96. So as you can see, they all hung in there for a long time, went through all the challenges and struggles, and I may add that we've lost 3 very important people in our lives, but those 3 important people made us richer by sharing all the love and all the inspiration and encouragement. Many of you know my dad is an activist. He was a union activist. He was said to be a revolutionary. He was actually a community activist. He helped everybody. Some people even say that he was a man before his times. Okay? And what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you what he was like from the eyes of his children. And these lights are blinding me, but I'm going to keep doing it. First of all, he was a devoted father. He was a devoted father. He had 7 children, biological children, and he had 3 stepchildren, and he had tons of great-grandchildren and grandchildren. And some of them are here in the audience today. And Dad treated us all the same. Yeah, all of us got the same. When it was Christmas time, he brought a gift for every child, every grandchild. And it was time to go to an annual picnic. He and Grace would take 2 cars and pick up all the kids and take everybody to the annual picnic. We went to Kensington Park. We went out on the beach. Dad's was swimming, and I think in some of the pictures you saw him in a swimsuit, so he liked swimsuit. And all of us went in the water because we felt safe, because we knew that Grace was an avid swimmer and we were safe. He encouraged us all, okay? We all got a piece of his mind. He shared his wisdom. He shared his stories. He was a fabulous storyteller. He told us all about the history. He told us all about the struggles that he and my mother had gone through in the South. And it just made us richer. Dad also hugged and kissed. And he had this magic kiss where he would come and kiss you right in your mouth. And we would be very embarrassed, but that's okay. We knew it was Dad. He was a wonderful man who loved to kiss and hug. And he always shared his struggles and told us how important it was to recognize and respect struggles and challenges, because it was going to help us so that we could fit in the society that we were being raised to become a part of. And interesting enough, Dad had tons of conversations with his children. And we speak of often the conversations he had with community activists and other people. He had tons of conversations with us. Quietly, many times, many hours in his living room, he and Grace would just tell us stories, stories after stories. Dad encouraged us to read. Yeah, read. And there were books everywhere. I mean, everywhere there were books. And some of the books had pictures of people who I would also see in our living room. And some of the books would have pictures of people who I'd see on the TV on top of buildings. He wanted us to read, so we read. And as kids, it seemed only fitting that after all that reading, Dad would end up writing books, making tons of speeches, traveling around the country, and sharing his vision, his challenges, and his struggles with everybody. Dad was so smart. No, Dad was wise. He was wise. And I knew it. We all knew it because people came to him with questions and conversations all the time. He was an excellent organizer. Yeah, he was great. He never forgot dates. He never forgot birthdays. He showed up at all the family affairs. He even hosted a lot of the family affairs. He was a proud father. He was proud of his children. He was very, very, very proud of Grace. And he was proud of my mom. He was proud of his heritage. He was proud of his country. He just wanted his country to be better. Dad loved jazz. I mean jazz. He loved jazz, okay? He would play his jazz music on his stereo in the living room, and he had the greatest collection of 33s and 45s that you ever want to see. Just the greatest collection of records. And he loved butter pecan ice cream. I needed to tell you that because as we were kids, that's how we shared our conversations with him at night with butter pecan ice cream. Now, Dad knew everybody in the neighborhood. And when we came over, he would introduce us to everybody in the neighborhood. So we thought we were celebrities. And he had a peach tree in his garden, a peach tree. And every time it would bear fruit, he would share it with all the neighbors. We'd all sit around eating peaches. Dad had this fixation with fixing everything. If anything got broke, he would tinker with it. If the neighbors had something that was broke, they would bring it over and he'd try and help fix it, okay? He helped them file taxes, apply for jobs, get a new career. He helped them go off to school. The neighbors seemed to rely on him. They came to him to fix it, to help fix it. And we did too. So the last thing I want to share with you is that throughout Dad's life, he had all these conversations about how to grow a humane society. Well, he was living a humane lifestyle himself. He was a very simple man. He was a very loving man. He filled us with hugs and kisses. He was willing to help anybody that asked. He was encouraging many. Dad wore the simplest clothing. He wasn't fancy. He wasn't fancy at all. He had a car that was so meticulously clean. It was in pristine condition when he passed it on to my oldest brother. He lived modestly, and he continued to share his wisdom, and his wisdom was raw, uncut, and there was no sugar coating to it. He told it like it was. And everybody seemed to accept that, too. Everybody seemed to accept it because they came to him for conversations. conversations. He always wanted to share his life and his wisdom so that he could make life better for someone else. So on behalf of the children of James Boggs, we are just ecstatic that many of you want to remember him as a humane person who wanted a humane society. And we do know if he were here today, he would still be advocating for that. He would still be advocating for that. So thank you. Thank you very much for remembering our dad.